guys, Toby here for PROEDGE Trading. All right, let's talk about EdgeRunner torque. And before we dive in, I'm going to do a little housekeeping. You'll notice I got the indicator brought up here and it has alerts. I'm going to show you where these alerts sounds are before I forget, because it's a little different. You're going to go to your local disk, not documents, for these sounds. You're going to go to local disk, program files, NinjaTrader 8, sounds, and that's where you find your NinjaTrader 8 sounds, or where you can put sounds if you want. You don't have to put them here, but it kind of keeps them organized. So you're going to go not documents for this one. Local disk, program files, NinjaTrader 8, sounds, and here they are. Now, let's just say you wanted to put this one as an alert. You're going to go to copy as path. So you're going to right click, copy as path. And then you can get rid of that. And let's say that's what you wanted to put here. Paste. And you see how it puts these quotation marks in. Just delete those from the front and back. So that's how you would put your alerts here. And there's a program I use to make custom alerts. If you want to let me know, I'll make a little video on that. But when you hear our videos and they say sell down, sell up, TT1, TT2, whatever, that's a really simple little program I use to make alerts. And you can stick them, you can put them anywhere, but you can put them here so they're easy to find. Yeah, but I just want to show you that real quick before I forget on the alerts. But for now, I'm just going to take these out so it's not confusing. But yeah, so torque bars. So here's the indicator. And this is just we call them torque bars, but what it's actually doing is just coloring your current bars. And it's more of a torque setting. And but here's the indicator. The wick threshold is how many ticks this has to wick into the edge band. I recommend 2. You can set it higher or lower, but I recommend at least 2, because you don't want it just touching. This thing needs to actually wick in at least a tiny bit. And you have an alert for that if you want to use it. Once a candle does that, you can get an alert for it. So it's going to alert you when a candle has wicked into the edge band with the other conditions. The other conditions are built in, but that's when it's important, is when it wicks into the edge band. And then the confirmation, if you want to use that, is when the next candle is also orange in this case. I have them set on orange and blue. So like in this case right here, it wicked in, next candle is also orange, it's going to sound an alert. You can turn one or both on or off depending on how much confirmation you want. And I'll show you why this is important, because sometimes you don't need the confirmation. You just need to know that one wicked in. On some, you want to know both. So that way you get an alert when this happens. And hopefully you got time to react to it. All right, let's dig into what it actually does. All right, here we go. Like I said, it's not necessarily candles, more of a setting. So here we are, 1 minute MNQ, and it works the same way on any of the instruments we've been trading. We can go through a few different ones. It even works on weird stuff like 6B and oil, which I know oil is not so weird, but it's difficult. Works good on oil even. But here we go. So, this is what I used mostly for the 50K challenge, by the way. But on the 1 minute, the 1, 2, and 3 minute, you need to pretty much use like I'm about to show you. The 3 minutes getting on the outer edge, because we're going to look at something else here in a few. But if you want to stick to the 1, 2, and maybe 3 minute, stick to these rules I'm about to tell you. So here's our 8:30, and like everything else, it works best after 8:30. So we come in, we got some separation. You want to have, for the 1, 2, and possibly 3 minute, you want to have a couple bars of separation, distance away from the bottom of the edge band in this case. A wick in, at least 2 ticks. I recommend 2 ticks. You can play with that if you want, and then a confirming bar. So I got mine colored blue and orange. So orange, orange, wicks in. The next bar, you wait for it to close. If it closes orange also after a wick in, then this is a entry bar. Entry criteria, but don't enter way down here. You want to try to get as close to the edge band as you can. And you can't get right on it. You're just going to miss trades. But on the 1 minute, we're going for 10 points or so, maybe even, 5 to 10, depending on the ATR. But so at least come off 2 or 3 points and just kind of chase this down. Like, how far is this? This is 05. Yeah, this is only a point or so. But 2 or 3 points, bam, you're in right here. Don't chase this thing forever, 2 or 3 candles at the most. Because if you go too far, you pretty much missed the move. We want to get in somewhere in here. Like, even if you got in here, and I'm not saying get in here, I'm just saying if you did, that's 02. 10 points is right here. So you're looking at this candle, like, all right, I'm ready to enter. You trail it down, you get in here. Your original 10 points has already been hit. So you just got to keep that in mind. I'm not saying abandon the trade. Just don't chase it down too far. You want to still have some move left. So you would have got in maybe here. It's hard to say with these type of candles, but for here, for sure, we got a wick, and boom, there's your 10 points or however much you can squeeze out of that. But that's the idea. This one here, no separation and no confirmation. We come down here. This barely separated, wicked in, confirmation. You try to get in. This is 3 candles out. And,
T1.
ideally you want in here. You just don't know that. This thing wicked in, closed. You're waiting for confirmation. Ideally, this is your entry. But that's not possible. I'm just saying, kind of use that as somewhat of a gauge. So it's 41. Here's 31 right here. That's why you don't want to chase them too far. Because by the time you get in here, that move's already happened. So it's still good. And I'm still saying, just don't, 2 or 3 candles at the most. Just don't chase it too far. Here's a wick in, but no confirmation. Nothing wicked in there. But going the other way, we got separation, wick in, but no confirmation. No separation. And then we're getting past. And I would only go to 10:30, 11 on the 1 minute. I'm going to show in 1, 2, 3 minutes iffy, but 1, 2 minute, I would stay within the 2.5 hours. I'm going to show you something on the 5 minute here in a few. Here we got separation. These never wicked in. Yeah, none of those wicked in. Now we're getting, it's getting kind of on the edge of using the 1 minute play. Let's just look at another day here. This is the 8th. All right, so here's 8:30. Here we go. Is that, and the alerts will tell you this, but I'm just measuring 112. Yeah, so that's good. It's wicked in. There's confirmation. on this candle, depending on where you're at. If you got in here, great. But this is why I say don't chase them too far, because look at this move. It's made the move. You might have finally got in here. Now it's, the move's over. It just went too far. You've went 3 or 4 or 5 candles, and this may not be a loser. It's only 15 points. It's probably still a winner, but you know, what if it kept going? So just don't chase them too far. And this will happen. You'd be like, man, I should have got in that. But, maybe you shouldn't have, because 20 is done. It's already went 30 points, so, but that's trading sometimes. No Wiccans here. No real separation. And these are tempting, you see this happen, like, oh, here we go. And this would have been your entry. But, from my looking at it a lot, it's best to stick with those rules of separation, Wiccan, confirmation. We just don't have 2 bars separated here. No Wiccans here. What time's it getting? Okay. Here we go. Here's one. Here's your confirmation. So this candle closed, confirming that one. You put your entry right here. And depending on how this moved, we don't know for sure, but 11, we know we got to this one. Must have a really low ATR right now. So it only went 10 points against you, and then obviously a winner. Here's another one. What time is it? 10:30. So weekend confirmation, get in anywhere here. That's a winner. So that's the gist of it. We can look at one more day. And the 2-minute will be very similar, same principle. But here's 8:30. We come in, no separation. No we don't have 2 separated, plus no confirmation. No weekend. This is a flat day. And that's what another thing I really like about it is, look how flat this is, and it keeps you out of this kind of thing. We got separation, no weekend. Okay, here we go. We got a weekend. Oh, no confirmation. About this one. Right here. So separation, we got, oh, no confirmation. Okay, we don't have 2. We only got 1 that's got separation. Here's one. We got separation, got a weekend. What color? I guess that's a doji. I can't tell. It may not be valid. These are, though. If you get a bunch like this, you can get in anywhere here, because you had separation, you got a weekend. You could count this one as confirmation. Maybe this one, we don't know, it's a doji, but this one's definitely confirmation. And then you get in anywhere here. And then we must have had a big news. Must have had news right after that. So, but there's a winner. Let's see, one more day on the 1 minute. All right, 8:30. We got separation, weekend, no confirmation. No confirmation, no separation. But you see how this keeps you out of trouble. It keeps you out of this mess. All right, here's one. Separation, wicked in, confirmation. And you probably could have got in, right here. Yeah, right here, probably. 35. This thing goes down 24. So you're 10 points. If you got in late, it only went about 10 points against you. So you got your win right here. See what time it is. Yeah, so we're still going. Not 2 candles of separation. Here's one confirmation. You get in somewhere in here. 65. Get out here. This one went about 18 points against you. Yeah, probably. Yeah. But, these are at least 2 to 1, 3 to 1. They are a negative RR. That's just how scalping is. But that's well within the limits. There's your win. Coming up here, I don't know if that's wicked in. That may be wicked in, but we don't have confirmation. And you see how well that works. It keeps you out of things like this. And now we're getting into 11 o'clock. But yeah, but the 2-minute, same process. The 3, I'm going to show you the 5-minute. So the 1 and 2, I would definitely use that same way. The 3, need to look at, is kind of a tweener. The 5 is something I was really wanting to show you. So the 5-minute, you won't get as many trades. It doesn't happen as often, but it's very reliable, and you don't need a separation condition or a confirmation. You just need it to, see, here's our 1030. On the 5, you just need it to wick in. I don't know if that is one, not quite. But here's one. So you just need it to wick in and be orange and be not a doji, but have a good tails. Ideally both ways, but at least a nice you can call it a hammer, reverse hammer or whatever, but you want it to be pretty wicky, not just a big handle like this. Well, that one's not bad, but it needs to have some wick on it. And here's one right here. And long as it's orange, wicked in, doesn't matter how far, you want the close as close to the bottom of the edge band as possible. This one's even better. As soon as that closes, bam, you're in. There's your winner. 55 down, 25 points. And even though it's the 5-minute, I would still put my target around 10 to 20 points. Probably 10 and then trail one, something like that. Did this one? This one's close. Let's see. Sometimes you gotta zoom in to see these, but the alert will tell you. But this one, and like I said, it doesn't need to have any other conditions. The only conditions is it needs to have some wick on it, close inside, wick in also, and your entry has to be at the edge band or closest to it as you can. Like this trade right here, this was not horrible. Wicked in, it's the first 5-minute. Blue one, wicked in, boom, it's a winner. Okay, here's one that I was talking about. You see, the candle itself is perfect. It's wicked in, but the close is way up here. You have to get in at the edge band. Don't get in right here. And same thing, don't chase this thing forever. Ideally, on the 5-minute, I would say the next candle 2 at the most. And usually you can get them closer to the edge band. 5 minutes just seem to wick in more. But get as close to the edge band as you can after it happens. There's your winner. Here's another one, winner, another one, winner, another one, winner. If you caught that one, 36, yeah, you got your 10 points out of it. But You also want to keep in mind how far you are up a trend. You want to use a 3 count, 1, 2, 3, you're getting, you that third count, you're getting in the iffy territory. Here we are going the other way. Here's a wick in, 84. Yeah, that one only got 10 points away from you. And then there's your win. And, oh, sorry, that's after 3. Here's our line, 2 o'clock. Don't trade after 2, 2:30 at the most. Here's another one, 8:30. Okay. We don't have any blue, got orange. And see how this one may have wicked in, who knows? On these candles, you can't tell. Probably not. The point is, it doesn't have a wick. But here's one right here. Wicked in. In this case, you'd get in right there. As long as it's above the edge band, you just get in right there. There's your win. That one didn't hit. And that's the only problem with the 5-minute. They're very reliable, but they don't happen near as often. But that's why we have the alerts, so you can kind of, you don't have to be glued to the screen. Set that alert on. And if you're running the 5-minute, that's when you would just run the wick in alert only. You don't need confirmation. This one's not bad. You never get in it. You never get in that one. This one, you probably would get in here somewhere. If not, if you missed it, you missed it. Not the end of the world. If you did, somewhere around 96, it goes up 30 points. Here's one, you get in right, right when this one closed, you get in because it's already below 53, 20 points, and then there's your winner. So that's what I mean. These are still going to be, 2 or 3 to 1. Because this one you got in at 53. Odds are, when this closed and you jumped in it, you'd probably get in right here. Let's say 53 at worst case. And there's 33. So 20 points would have covered it. And then there's your win. Here's one. It's nice and wicky. See, the close is way up here. So if you want to wait 1, 2 candles at the most, get in here. That's a winner. Here's some more winner, depending on if you missed that one. This one, if you just keep going up this leg, which is always, hazardous, but 83, 93, barely. If you got in really late on this one, 86. That one might have got, it depends where you got in. It's close, but you've already had a whole bunch of opportunities here, and you're on the top of this leg. 1, 2, 3. You got to watch that. But with a 2 to 3 to 1, you're safe here. Winner. We're at 2 o'clock. Let's go the next day. Do one more day. Well, here, let me show you this. All right, let's look at one more instrument. Say, let's do the ES, since we all like to trade the ES also. All right, we can just look at today real quick. Crazy day, but you come in, wicked in here. It's a winner. I wouldn't be trading this. It's just too much with 30, 40 point candles. Yeah, this is a winner, but let's just go to a different day. Let's see. come in. Here's a wick in. Get in here somewhere. That's a winner. Is that one wicked in? Luckily the indicator will tell you. You get an alert. Here's a wick in. Time is at 12:40. 99. I went a point or two against you. That's a winner. Here's one. 96. 2 or 3 points. That's a winner. Of course, it's after 2 o'clock. Get one more day. Here's our 8:30. We come in. None of these wicked in. It's just a huge sell-off. Let's see. Here's a wick in. You get in that one. 56.50. You're out for a couple points. And then it's 2 o'clock. But yeah, on the even on the 5 minutes, I would still go. My main target be 2 points on the ES. One more day. Here we go. Is that actually? Yeah, that's wicked in. 75 got down. 73. Yeah, 75, 73. So you're good there. Here you go. Get in somewhere around in here. That's a win. Happens again. You get in down here somewhere. That's a win. Now it's 2 o'clock. But yeah, you guys get the idea. Torque setting. If you've already purchased the EdgeRunner, obviously you'll find the torque, EdgeRunner torque in your downloads. Any future purchasers will get it, be in their downloads. Go to PROEDGETrading.com, and yeah, just works really well. Just stick to those little rules. If you guys, you may come up with your own rules, ways that work, instruments, time frames. Some people like to trade on the actually trade 15, 30 second. I haven't looked at it a lot on that, but it probably works really well because it's catching trend strength and then the other little conditions that are built in. There's actually a lot built in behind the scenes that actually produce a colored bar. But point is, it's really reliable. This is the trades I took for the 50K challenge. But yeah, we appreciate you guys watching, and have a good weekend. We will see you on the charts Monday.